Hey guys, it's Ellen here and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do some hyacinth on Floral Friday. Everyone's kind of feeling a little hopeful these days and the signs of spring, so I thought I would do a hyacinth. I go over this every time, step by step, but if you are a Patreon member, you can download the traceable that goes with it. If you don't know what Patreon is, I have a link right in the description box and right up here. It's a place where I have exclusive tutorials on Thursdays and traceables that go on my YouTube and ad-free videos. So check that out. Also of note, I forgot to plug the microphone in when I was painting. So you'll hear me, but it won't be as loud as usual, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. I could go do a voiceover, but that would take too much time. So, you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Also, don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorial's up. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first we're going to go over how to draw the hyacinth. If you're a Patreon member, you can download the traceable. Basically, I'm drawing the bulbs first, which are basically circles, the little oblong kind of shape, and like little crown tops. See, little V's like this. Did like 3 of these. And then we'll have the leaves coming out. So basic leaves, you know, you're basically going like this. It's a curved line, and then the one coming back, curved line, and then coming back. And then for the hyacinth itself, it's like a stem here, a stem here, and a stem here, whatever way you want to go, and stem here. And then the stem is kind of thick. And here's like little star, like flowers coming out of it. So I kind of think of it as a curved line out and a wiggle like this. An actual hyacinth can look more like a star, curved star, like this. Just making these little squiggle petals coming out, and you could do some star ones. I wouldn't get too bogged down on drawing the stars out and the squiggle lines, because basically we're going to paint them in. Just like that. See, I'm just making this like squiggle stars. Squiggle stars. But you get the idea. We're going to paint them in, draw them. And that's kind of it. So I have my drawing all traced out here. I was playing around with painting up some hyacinths yesterday, like this, on my own. I think a little too bunched together. I want to like have a little more separation, so that's why I did this one. And for the painting, I'm going to be using my Grumbacher number 10. Okay, so for the painting, I'm going to use the brush. I'm going to use the Grumbacher 10 Golden Edge series. It's round. Painting on my Arches 100% cotton cold pressed paper. This is the 9x12 pad, but I made it so that I could cut it down to an 8x10 if I wanted to, and then I could put it in a frame if I wanted to. So think about how you want to, how big you want to make it. You can make it this size. You can make any size you want, really. And I have my water jars, my paper towel here. And my paints, I have my palette. I'll be working with peacock blue, some Verdier blue, some quinachradone magenta. I have some olive green, and I have cadmium yellow deep. But I probably be using the cadmium yellow deep mixing with the peacock, making life easier. So if you don't have that many colors, I would get the peacock blue, cadmium yellow deep, and quinacridone magenta, and that's all you kind of need. 3 colors really you need for everything in the world. So I'll get some water on my brush. Let's mix up some purples. I have this magenta. Kind of loosely put that there. And then I'm going to put some down here. Grab that peacock. You get this nice bluish purple. I'm going to really water this down. And I'll show you why. I'm just going to put this color lightly. See, I dab it on the paper towel, take up the excess water. And it's going to do those little marks I kind of drew in. See, it's already looking like a hyacinth. Just kind of filling in those little, there's my dog making, my studio mate is being very grumpy. Brady, you gotta chill out. He sees the dogs walking outside. So you see I'm just filling in the stars, and the little squiggles that I did. Just like that. Paint the little stars in this color tone. It already feels like a hyacinth, right? I'm leaving the little space here for the stem. Just going like this. You could also, if you wanted to, just take the color and kind of push it around, filling it in like this. See, I'm kind of dabbing the color. You have the specific star shapes here, and you can kind of dab the color around it. You can go back in and get even darker tone. Just kind of bleed that in here, here and there. Just gives it a loose feel. So I'm going to grab some more peacock and some more magenta and a little more concentrated color here. Put it in between. Just like that. Let it bleed a little bit. And you get this nice look. I'm also going to go in and start to make my stem. So I've got my yellow here. I'll grab my magenta, like an orange, a little bit of the peacock, just a touch of it. And get this nice orangey brown color. Might grab a little more magenta and a little more peacock. Just keep playing with it till you get the color that you're looking for. Or you could use like a nice burnt umber if you have that. So I'm just going to put this color going in here. So you could have done that in the beginning. You could have just gone in, you wanted to put the stem in first. Just to kind of give you a feel of where it's going to go. Brady, shh. Shush. Doggy. I might add a little olive green to that actually. Dog is being very grumpy. You see, he's like, who's walking near my house? My territory. So just loosely putting in some green in here. Okay, I had to yell my dog to be quiet. So we got the stems in there, right? We're gonna go and do the same thing with these other pretty hyacinths over here. Filling in the little star shapes. Just like that. If this is still wet, it might bleed into it. Just kind of lift up the paint and put it on your paintbrush. And I'll go back in and grab some of the darker tones. You can have a little more on the purpley side. You can have some more magenta. I'll get some magenta here. Put some water on that loosely. And a little bit of that color up in here. You know, sometimes those hyacinths can change colors. Just to make it a little bit more interesting. You see, I'm just kind of moving the paintbrush like this, side to side, getting those wiggly stars. And you can tell it's a hyacinth. Leaving some of the stars. Getting closer towards the stem, I get a little bit darker. And that blue in there. Blue is purple. You want a variety, right? And if you didn't want to keep it clouded in like I did, see, I left some white spaces, but you could have left more white spaces. So on this one, I would leave probably a lot more white spaces. I would do like the little side blooms, just like this, starting to bloom. It hasn't really bloomed yet, like that one. It's starting to bloom. So this is kind of just taking your brush and making these V's, like a V, maybe like a little blob coming down this way, like that also. A little darker. And then just tapping a little darker color here. See, those are like, they haven't bloomed yet. Same thing over here too. These ones haven't bloomed yet. They're just starting to bloom. Getting ready to bloom. It's all about the bloom. Okay. I'm being silly. It's Friday. Floral Friday. So that's pretty much it. We're going to let this dry over in here. We can go back in and we'll use some excuse me, a thinner paintbrush and make little outlines of the flowers. Let's move on to the stems. So I have my yellow here, and I'll mix it with some peacock, and I'll have a nice bright green, maybe more yellow. So I'm gonna start using some bright greens. I'll mix some different greens. Could add little browns to it, some darker blues to it. I'm just gonna take my brush, just push down. I really want it loose. See, just going really fast. The stem color. I want that dry brush kind of happening too. So I got some nice greens going in here. Can overlap it with some other blue greens. And put some more yellow in this one. Gonna add a little blue. Take that peacock, or even a Prussian blue. It will change it. Take that brown. See, it makes that green totally different. It's a little too dark. I don't know if I like that. I want to keep the green really kind of bright. So I'll go back in and add some peacock blue. I'll take a little bit of this color. See here, just a variety of greens. Just adding a little more blue, a little more yellow, and a little brown to that. We're just going to be filling in the stems here. I mean, excuse me, the leaves. But I do want a variety of them. Tones. We do want to keep it on the brighter side though, because the hyacinths are pretty bright, pretty greens. So I'm adding some more brighter greens in here. Filling in this one. Overlap some of them. Can overlap one here. Add a little blue to the edge. Just want this loose style. See that? We're getting pretty loose. Now moving on to the bulbs. I kind of want them brown and purple at the same time. So I've got that brown we use for the stems, right? And then we've got the purple. Well, actually, I'll make it more like kind of a magenta purple. I don't want to say magenta purple, but more in the magenta tones. So I just added a little bit of the peacock blue. So I have there. So clean up my brush. Again, wet on dry. Grabbing this brown that I've made for the stems. Just going to put that in there. Really loose. Washing in the color. Kind of leaving white, just like that. And I'll take this purple that's more on the red tones. Add a little yellow to it. A little deeper. There we go. It's kind of like a burgundy in a way. I'm gonna play around with blue and red. And the browns, of course. See, and just add those in. At this point, you can put in some like Payne's gray to make it dark over here too. Just a little bit darker because it's behind that bow. And just like that. So I'm gonna go back and do the browns again. Got my yellow, magenta, add my peacock blue, and get the brown. Depending on how you want it to look. I'm gonna add a little more yellow and a little more red. It's a reddish brown. Again, see, I'm just filling in this. Looks like a little crown in the long shape. Keeping it kind of light on this side. So it's kind of in the brown tone right now. And I can go back in, add some purple, maybe some blue. Right here, it's behind this one. See, the blue, I'm just grabbing the peacock itself, putting that in there. Grabbing some crimson, excuse me, magenta itself, right from the tube almost. Just kind of loosely putting that in. Can even grab some yellow. Stick that in there. That's how I like to make it. And the same thing with this one, obviously. Got the brown. I kind of make the halo kind of in the middle at this point. I had the little white in the end of these ones. Just like that. Just playing around with adding some colors. Can even add a little green. You can make, you know, they don't have to all be the same tone. It could be a lot lighter. Can add a little green to this one. I just want to have it really loose, just playing around with adding color. Like I said, I added some blues, magentas, just like that. And keep it kind of on the loose side. At this point, you just go in and tweak, like I would just go in and tweak the flowers. I'm gonna grab my colors, got all mushy, messy. Gonna make that purple again. Bluish purple. Okay, so go back in and you can fill in parts you feel like you've missed. I'm adding in some darker tone here. Kind of highlight going around the star. So you could do it two ways. You could do it with putting a darker color around it. Let me show you. So here's, like, say there's a star right here. And highlight a star shape with the darker bluish purple. Just like that. And put like a little dot in the middle. Again. I don't think it's necessary, you know, you don't have to do that. But if you want to show some of the stars like that. Or you can just paint around it. Just like that. I'm going in and adding some darker blues down here. Again, you can go up here and add some darker tones coming from the stem. You want a variety of tonality with these. I would go back in here when it's dry and fill it in with some deeper tones. It's not going to be this one mono tone, kind of bluish purple. It's going to have that variety, and it's going to make it stand out much better. I'm just putting, see, I'm just highlighting those little stars. And going back in here and adding some deeper tones. And you can even add some more blues or purples, depending on how you want yours to look. So that's a little more too blue. But that's pretty much it. I mean, it's pretty simple. You're just kind of pushing the brush around. Yeah, I know somebody's going to say to me, it's not that simple. You got to get used to it, guys. So I'll take this brown again. Green. Go down my stem. And I'll add another green leaf. Just like that. And that's pretty much it. Go back in here with your greens and kind of outline them if you want. Get a little darker. Put some nice bright ones in here. Grab some yellow. That's it. I don't like it too fussy and messy, you know? As fussy messy as they say. I want to keep it kind of simple on the hyacinth. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Also, don't forget, if you're Patreon, you can just download the traceable to make your life a little bit easier. If not, I think I showed you guys how to do this. See, I'm just going in and tweaking in the stem part. But that's pretty much it for the hyacinth and the bulbs. Really loose, simple. You know, like, leave a little air. If you want to go back in, use a small, like, number 4 with some of the darker concentrated. I would even use maybe some brown too. And just make those little stars outlined. Just going back in here. If it's easy for you, use a smaller brush and draw those little stars. Put a little dot in the center. Just gives it another dimension of interest. See, I'm taking like the dark purple and drawing little stars. And that's that. Oh, got a little paint on my... Hey, if that ever happens to you guys, if you get a little paint on your pad right away, just put some water. Grab a paper towel real quickly, and it should come up. You gotta kind of do it right away. If it's still there, you can kind of keep doing that until it comes up, but that's it. So there you go, guys. Hyacinth on Floral Friday. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys are will have a great weekend, staying safe, feeling a little optimistic. I know in my state, we're really starting to opening up everything, which is feeling very optimistic. You know, there's some hope around the corner. And so spring is always a sign of hope, and the bulbs when they're popping up through the ground, and I love the smell of hyacinth. I don't know about you, but it's like the best smell ever. So yeah, I have a little hope today. Feeling like pretty good. So take care, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.